Good afternoon, Orange and Amber class. Today for our topic lesson, we are going to be doing some artwork. So we're going to be creating space art using bubble blowing. This is very exciting and I love doing this activity. I think you'll enjoy it too. Okay, so we're going to watch a video which shows us how to do our bubble painting, and then I'm going to do a demonstration for you for my own planet.
Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Rossi. Today we are going to experiment with color mixing using bubble painting. Let's get started. For this project you will need some paper, a straw, some bowls or cups to mix your bubble paint in. You're going to want to cover whatever surface you're working on, so I laid out some newspaper. You're going to need your paint and some soap. We're also going to need a little bit of water. I'm going to start my bubble painting with 3 colors. So I have a red paint, a blue paint, and a yellow paint. Do you remember what we call red, yellow, and blue? That's right, it's our primary colors. These are our primary colors because they mix together to make all the other colors in the rainbow. So you mix red and yellow to make orange, yellow and blue to make green, and red and blue to make purple. So I'm going to start with these colors and eventually I'll mix these to make my secondary colors. Inside each of my bowls I put a little bit of water. I'm going to put some paint in each bowl and then add a little bit of soap. And this is going to make my bubble paint. Most paints should work to do this. So I'm using craft paint today, but you can give it a try with whatever you have at home. I'm going to put my paints aside, and I'm going to squirt a little bit of dish soap in each cup. And this soap is what's going to make our bubbles. I have 3 straws here, 1 for each of my colors, and I'm just going to mix that together. So my water, my soap, and my paint all getting mixed together in its bowl. So now all of my paints are mixed together. I have my yellow paint, my blue paint, and my red paint, my primary colors. And I'm going to grab my piece of paper and get that ready. If you have thicker paper, you're going to want to use a thick paper today because it is going to get a little wet, and if our paper is too thin, it might fall apart. First color I'm going to try on my paper is my red. So I'm going to take out my red paint and I'm going to put the other 2 to the side. To make my bubble paint, what I'm going to do is blow into the end of the straw, and it's going to make more bubbles and more bubbles and more bubbles in my cup, and I will push my paper in through those bubbles, and it's going to leave a cool print on my paper. So let's see, I'm going to take my straw and I'm going to blow into one end of it and make some nice big bubbles. You want to be extra careful while you're blowing into your straw that you're not sucking in, because we don't want to suck in our bubbly paint water that we just made. It's not going to taste very good. Now that I have a bunch of bubbles in there, I'm going to pull my straw out, and I'm going to take my paper, I'm going to rest it on the edge of my cup, and I'm just going to push it across so it catches some of my bubbles. I can take my finger and just pop whatever is left, and now I'm left with my paint in the same mark as my bubble pattern, just like that. And that's going to dry in the same shape as those bubbles, which is going to be really cool. If I want a bigger area of red, I can just take my straw and do it again. So I'm going to blow into the straw, take my straw out, and just swipe my paper across by resting it on the edge of my bowl and just pushing all the way through. And I can pop those bubbles with my hand, and now I have an even redder, bubblier print right there. Let's get some other colors involved. So I'm going to put my red cup back, and I'll take my blue cup. You can use whatever colors you'd like to make. Yours does not have to look like mine. So I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to blow into my end of the straw to make big bubbles. take my straw out, and I could swipe on top of my red, or I can turn my paper and I could do blue on this side. There we go. I could pop these bubbles with my finger, and I'm left with a really cool bubble print in blue now. I'm going to do another print of blue next to my red so they can mix together a little bit, and then I'm going to add some yellow by just repeating the same steps over, where I'm blowing into my bubble paint and then swiping my paper through. Another way you can do this is you can press your paper into your bubbles that you are blowing, and that is going to leave the imprint more in the middle of your paper. So I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to blow my bubbles so they're nice and big. I'm going to flip my paper upside down, and wherever I want it on my paper, I'm going to line it up with my bubbles and just push right down onto my cup. And that's going to leave me a little bit of bubble action right in the middle. I think swiping it from the side works a little bit better, but that will work also. Let's add some yellow to our picture. So I'm going to keep repeating the same thing over and over until I get my full paper covered in bubbles. And that is my first bubble paper all finished. You can see that since I used the primary colors, in areas where my colors overlapped, they started to mix together to make the secondary colors. So I have some purple forming, some orange, and some green. So that came out really nice. I'm going to let this dry with all those bubbles on top. Guys, when we go back to school, have fun, try your best, and get creative. Bye.
Okay, so have a look at this picture. It shows how the planets are not all the same size. Also, they are all different colours. So when you're making your art, you might want to use, say, a red paint for Mars or a blue and green for Earth. So I've decided for mine, I'm going to make Earth. So I've got all of my things ready. I have my water. I have my washing up liquid. Now, which colours do you think I need for Earth? I need blues and greens, don't I? So I've chosen one kind of dark blue, and then I've chosen 2 shades of green. And I have my cups ready with my paints all mixed up. My paint, my water, and my washing up liquid, and I have my straw. Now, I've got my globe here so I can have a look at Earth, which will help me when I'm creating my patterns for how much water and how much land to create on my bubble painting. So a good way to create your planets is to, before you start doing it, you could cut out your template for your planet. So a good idea is to draw around a bowl. So I've drawn around this bowl here. So I'm going to cut out my shape. So I have my circle ready. Cut carefully along the lines. And then you'll have your circle ready for your planet. Okay. Now I'm going to begin blowing my bubbles. Make sure that you do not suck through your straw. You need to make sure that you're blowing, otherwise you'll get a nasty taste in your mouth. Okay, so blowing just like you blow bubbles with a bubble wand. Okay. I'm going to start with my blue. take your straw out. So you can place it on top like this, or you can swipe it like in the video. I'm going to do some green. Blue. Whoa, that's a big one. Makes a really good noise, doesn't it? I like that noise. And I love popping the bubbles. Maybe some more green. Oh, brilliant. Starting to see the effects now. Don't know if you can see that. I'm going to hold it up. You see the lovely blue and green patterns. It's looking just like planet Earth, isn't it? Looks great. So your independent task today is to create your own bubble art space picture. Can you make your planets the right colour and size? So I'm going to end the video with our last slide, which shows all of our planets. So you could pause the video in a moment, decide which one you want to create, and then you can find the colours that you need and cut out your templates to the right size. As a super chilly challenge, you could even create the whole solar system. That'd be amazing. You could hang them up in your bedroom or put them up on your wall. That'd be amazing.